This is the All I Need Skate podcast. If you enjoy the podcast, please let us know by subscribing, liking, and sharing an episode.
Hello friends, welcome back to the show. Each and every episode is brought to you by All I Need. We are a growing skateboard company focused on supporting our skate team. Our decks are 7-ply Canadian maple made right here in the USA. If you enjoy this show and would like to help support it, the best way to do that is to skate one of our decks. If you see an All I Need deck at your local skate shop, swoop it up and shred it. If you don't live near a skate shop, don't worry, we have you covered at ALLiNEEDSKATE.com. Something new to the online store is our script pullover hoodie. It comes in 3 colorways. We have black, navy, and maroon, and sizes small through 2XL. And again, check out all our skateboards and apparel at ALLiNEEDSKATE.com. This episode is brought to you by Scooch. Scooch makes the world's most functional Apple and Samsung phone cases. If you're like me and film a lot of skating on your phone, I'd suggest purchasing the Wingman case. It has an epic pop-out kickstand handle that is great for filming skating. Please make sure to use our affiliate link, scoochcase.com/allineed. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. Our guest today is the legendary Gershon Mosley. We discussed his current living situation in Oakland, teaming up with Jaime Hustle for some business projects, philosophy of life in skateboarding, celebrity in skateboarding, family life, his upbringing, the monetary system, and much, much more. This one goes deep. Hope you enjoy.
Gershon,
Yeah.
maybe we'll start with where are you at and what are you up to these days, man?
All right. I'm in Oakland, California currently, and basically, I linked up with Jaime Harris, Hustle Skateboards, Jaime Hustle, and he has a building. It's an old furniture building, and it's called Victory Stables, which there's a skate shop in it, and soon there'll be more. There's other ideas in the works. It's a really big building, and there's a lot of potential.
What? That's so sick.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm here kind of more trying to help out, and also just I've never lived in Oakland, and I wanted to be back around kind of more people because I was up north for a while and I was back east for a while. I was moving around a bit, and now I think I'm ready to be around the cities.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the potential, it's mostly skateboard related, but then there'll be like some nightlife and all the different things that like have venues and stuff like that. So we'll be able to do premieres. We actually did a couple already, but the building hasn't officially, the shop itself hasn't officially been open because every time there was a show or something that happened, there was never anybody to man the shop, to have the shop open for proper hours. So now I'm doing that also. So I'm generally like 12 to 6 during the day, unless I go skateboarding. But, if it's raining, it's an indoor. It's not huge, but not huge like a skate park huge, but it's pretty big for what you would consider a skate shop.
Yeah,
So
just
we can put stuff in it when it's raining.
yeah, it's awesome to have a building and a space to set that all up in. That's seems like a prime situation to be in.
Yeah, and as well for other like filming, all kinds of different things besides skateboarding, or actually to accent skateboarding.
Yeah.
It's studio space, all kinds of things like that.
Oh, that's sick.
It's really cool.
That's sick.
Yeah.
We have a place out here in Pawtucket, and it's just a big old mill building, and they converted it into artist lofts and small businesses. There's even an arcade, and then my friend Brandon opened up it's like a mini skate park, but it has everything, all you need basically to have fun. It's all
Yeah.
movable ramps and stuff, and yeah, but it's clutch, especially when the weather hits, and you need somewhere to go.
Yeah, and that's kind of the idea for this building. I mean, that sounds a bit bigger, but some of the ideas that you actually outlined, that will be some of the ideas that we're going to be trying to exercise. So,
How's Jaime
like
Hustle?
he's cool. He's got a lot of things to talk about. He has a 1 year old, so the last year's probably been really changing for him, and so he hasn't been out in the public as much. But he's gonna probably be getting out there a bit more, like politician style.
Yeah, it's sick.
Try to get him. He's a character.
Yeah.
You met?
Yeah, I've hung out with him like in the skating setting, like we were both skating or hanging, like I never really just hung out with him, but
And that's generally like that's how I met him. I've
yeah.
over the years of run into him, but like probably like around January, and that's kind of when he first got into the building, is when we ran into him. Like I was traveling down to LA to grab my some boards, and kind of ran into him at a spot, and then kind of linked up, and he was talking about the things that he was doing, and it has a lot to do with the ideas that I wanted to do, that I've been working towards for some years actually. So it all kind of comes together, it like benefits us both to actually work together in this.
Yeah, that's awesome when you find someone who's like working towards similar stuff. I love that about skateboarding.
Yeah,
Like when you find another skateboarder that is like obsessed with it and they just need someone to hang out with, It's like the best feeling.
yeah. To do it with, yeah, because I mean, it's inspiration. We can be inspired by everything around us, but it's like if you have somebody else that's kind of has the same like mind, you can do a lot more, because you don't have people. If you're going in one direction, it's hard for other people to really see that direction. So, not that people necessarily doubt, but it's you get more of a push when you have somebody going in a similar direction.
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
yeah, it goes both ways too. So, and that's best when it's reciprocated, because a lot of times, like somebody needs the other one more than the other, and it's like a lot of relationships relationships I've seen over the years. A lot
Yeah,
of times, one's more interested than the other, or relationships I've been in actually.
yeah,
One individual more interested in the other, and it's hard to balance out. But like when we're talking about business, it's even crazier, because you could say, well, we all have the goal of trying to get paid, but that's not good enough. Like when we're talking about like actual goals, because some people can get paid before the whole situation is finalized, but some people have pride in seeing the whole project through.
yeah.
And so some people are just jump ship real early. But what if we're talking about a journey that lasts for a while?
Yeah,
So that
that's like what building a brand is for sure. It's a journey of like effort. Yeah.
yeah, and obviously, like about that, and it's we're kind of going into the same direction with that, trying to. Jamie has a writer that's been with him for a while, but we need other writers. So we need to. He's had people come and go, but we need people that actually really, first of all, really like skateboarding.
Hell
But
yeah.
also, it's better if like we got them before they're tainted with the idea of skateboarding or the industry and all that. So young, and then like have them like nurture them into like, okay, start you like skateboarding, and like we'll do this, and you build the relationship, but all the whole time recognizing that it is business. But then like through the business of skateboarding, we found real friends though.
Yeah,
But
for
you
real.
also, but that comes with like, we go through things, and then you learn how to trust people, and you learn that some people, it isn't just about getting paid. So that's admirable. And then if you're on the same page, then that usually blossoms more into a friendship than it just an acquaintance, business acquaintance.
Yeah, yeah.
So building the team from raising up. I mean, we can find people that are really about it right now, but that's harder. Everybody wants to get on the huge meal ticket, right away, and that's for the long run, that's not the best thing. It's good to get your name out there, but a lot of times people find out that, well, what goes up must come down, and then sometimes if you never even had to run up the hill first, that fall is a lot farther than you would ever anticipate.
Yeah, it makes me think of skating a mini ramp. You start from the bottom up and try to learn how to pump up the ramp. That way every inch of that ramp before you get to the top. So it's the same approach and building a brand. Say it again?
Yeah, before you tail drop, because before I learned to do tail drop, I was going the kick turn, the back and forth, and then finally tapping the tail and mimicking the tail drop. So then finally, when I just go up there and do the tail drop, I've already done it a bunch of times, but it was just not as committed.
Yeah, you explore every inch of that ramp, learning how to pump up it and get your balance, and that's where you build the muscle to get to the top. I know a lot of kids will just go to the top and think they just need to drop in first. They usually take an unnecessary slam, and same in business too, I guess.
See, that was the thing though, is because of starting in the bottom, you know what to do once you get down there. So if you just learn how to drop in, and you don't know what to do when you get to the next wall, but because you did all the pumping, you're able to actually either slow yourself down or maybe even kick turn when you get to the next wall already before. So you already learned more tricks than just the drop in, in the pursuit of it going from the bottom up.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're more prepared for a slam at that point.
Yeah, so it was kind of like what I was talking about with the, not even running up the hill, So you get up to the top, you just want to drop in. Okay, that's cool, but you don't know what to do with the speed.
Yeah. That happens a lot, yeah.
Oh, no, it happens so much that it's a lot of the stories of people being unhappy with skateboarding. It's not skateboarding, it's the industry, it's business, because skateboarding was what they were doing, but then the relationship that they weren't ready for. And I was kind of one of those guys that was I blamed it on skateboarding, but it was no, skateboarding is still there, and I still have fun doing it. No, I was just making bad decisions, or not even bad decisions, but decisions that I was not ready for at the time, I thought, but there's no better time than the present, because otherwise you don't learn anything.
So true. And you were in when you were doing it, that was a height of skateboarding for sure. I grew up watching you guys in videos and magazines and pushing
the 80s, the early 80s, when those dudes, they seemed like rock stars. They seemed like they were getting paid. But I know it's changed the generations. So maybe in the numbers, but it's hard to say, because I wasn't there with Cab and the Bones Brigade and those dudes back then, so I don't really know what what kind of business they. So it was definitely skateboarding. There was a bunch of numbers of people watching, So
I feel like there's always things that pop up in skateboarding where there's the Olympics, or what else do they have? Contests, the SLS, where it's a show. Remember the Do Tours too? I used to do the Do Tours. And
but they remember, it doesn't pop up in skateboarding. They need skateboarding. Because that's how the sport aspect of it exists, because they need the competition. Otherwise, 411s and videos, would help skateboarding flourish as art form, because we were watching and listening to music. You know, it's like seeing flow, seeing it presented, it not so not competitive. I mean, if you could look past it because it was branding, but like each video had its own, you know, it was featuring its own writers, so they weren't competing against each other or the world per se.
Yeah,
You
it's
know, they're
more.
putting out their.
It was ahead of its time for
So
sure. I grew up on 4-on-1s in a basement in New England. Like my friend had them. We were just watching everyone, and it was like vlog style. It wasn't about so much
yeah,
competition. They did cover the competitions too, though.
yeah, yes.
It was
That was an
travel too,
aspect
right?
of it.
Say it again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is the sports is an aspect of it, but
Yeah,
you know, we talk about lifestyle because I mean technically I'm living the lifestyle, like being a part of skateboarding is you actually have to put work into it because I mean, you know, it's just like anything else. You know, you go into the computer world, it has the same kind of mentality. You have to like be about it because if it's just a paycheck, then you'll quit early, or you'll find whatever it is that thing that gets you paid the most, and then you'll just go 100% in that. But that's in the end, it's about the numbers. It's not about passion. It's not about the art.
yeah.
So basically, like I don't know. I didn't dream skateboard. Oh, I guess after I got into it, I did, but it wasn't my dream when I got into skateboarding. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll try that, you know. And it's like, but then after a while, it wasn't. I wasn't looking at other people going, I want to be like them. I was just like, well, this is cool, and then I can do this with it. So then started traveling, and I started seeing that you know, it's worldwide. So,
What age
you know,
did you get into skateboarding?
I was like about 12 or something like that, 12, 14. It was 88.
That's sick. That's
And
sick.
yeah, and then you know, it's one of those things. It's like there was it's I didn't have to do with anybody. So the beginning was me just kind of like just kicking around. You know, it's like most people, unless you have a bunch of friends when you start out.
Yeah.
But then eventually, as I got able to do things, I started venturing out and trying to find other people to skate with, and you know, the adventure continues.
Yeah, totally. That's what I was saying earlier, just the hype of when you meet another lifer who just keeps skating. You've definitely spent a lot. You're more skateboarder than you're not, I'm sure. You've probably lived more years skateboarding. You started when you were 12. So yeah, definitely. Yeah. You're mostly skateboarding.
Yeah.
I've been skating for like 25
Well,
years or something like that. That like I remember 12 years was,
definitely.
you know.
I definitely gave up a lot of base. I don't know. You can't even call it basic, but the general, typical way that people go about life. I mean, I do the job, but my job, like I do various jobs. So I don't look at my life like weighed based on any job. But skateboarding is one thing that like if you were to talk about it as a true profession, we're little less than minimum wage for the hours we put in. You know, if you're talking about how much any one skateboarder, even the greatest pro, Tony Hawk, or well, I mean that's debatable, but he's done a lot for skateboarding, and that's what I mean by it. But
Yeah.
uh, you think about the hours, really, it's not even, it's like probably we don't get paid, you know, it's like there's McDonald's, you'd get paid more because
You,
you just consider what you did for passion just to get to the level. And if you want to equate all the hours you put in this, you know, and like even Niger or somebody like that that's getting paid top dollar, P-Rod, those dudes, it's nothing. So, because like ultimately for so many of those hours we didn't even consider what we were it's not something we even considered giving up. It was just something that was a pleasure.
Yeah, that's the
So,
thing about skating.
for, yeah, for pretty much everyone to get to a certain level, there has to be some sort of a passion to the extent that you can't be equating all the hours. You could have never been doing that because you would have been like, fuck this, it ain't worth it.
Yeah.
If it's about getting because even but you think about how many people get paid, and even still, like even the ones that are getting paid, they're not. It's the hours isn't worth it. Like if you really, really want to get about ego, and that's
Yeah.
why like some people I see now with the skateboarding. It's like shit. Like I don't see why people can't be smiling if they're trying to act like they're because they're getting paid that they got to be hard. It's like no, it's not gangbanging.
Yeah.
You
It's
wouldn't
skateboarding.
last anyway. It's worse now than it ever was. How people with the egos. It's so crazy because of the internet. People think
Oh,
so much of
yeah.
themselves half, they're not haven't even done a core of the work. And I'm sure when I came in, the guys that I mentioned prior, everybody prior to me, they were probably thinking the same thing. But I'm still putting in work though. It's like I'm not trying to claim that I deserved a spot, but it's like those that keep doing it. It's like is there there's no school. It's just a lifer, like you said.
Yeah.
Like I
The
don't see myself without skateboarding. Even like there's the Augie Brazilian. It's like if I lost my legs, I figure it out.
it's true. It's true, right? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So and that
well, so like
yeah.
I agree
Go
with you. Like I started a skateboard brand because I knew it was be something that I would just always pursue. Because I like once I started skateboarding, it's like it's all you. It consumes you. It's all encompassing. So you get consumed by it, and then you just want to keep it in
Well,
your
it is.
life. Like I just always
Yeah.
wanted skateboarding in my life. I was like, this is like more good things with skateboarding is like worth working for, you know? So like if you love skateboarding, then that's worth working at, you know? It's like when someone films a
Well,
video part too, you know? Like they work on a video part and like work on that for a long time and put it all together. And you have to work with someone else, like having that relationship, working with a filmer. It's sick, man.
so think about the common thread of all of that is progress.
Yeah.
Because it's all work. It's like it's always going to be like I mean we live by judgment, but I don't judge people like critically like some people might think, but I it's interesting to me that somebody can try to maintain a level, just stay a certain and meaning that they're not trying to get better. It's like I see some people I've seen for years doing the same routine and it's like they keep a cap on it like the whole time they could have did more or they even can do less but it's like they want to keep it in a certain like idealism and it just to me that just seems strange because I mean I guess there is a form of progress in that keeping the sword super sharp but you're not actually ever testing the metal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh so yeah, it's but yeah, I guess there could be progress there. It's just, and that's why I brought up the whole judgment thing. Is that I don't really know that, but it's me outside looking in, thinking about it, and I just think like every time I do something, it's like, well, even if I do another crooked grind, it'll be on something different, or I'll be trying to do it, in a line, or it's always progressive because that the trick is only a tool to me. So it's not that I just do the trick everywhere. It's how I do it. It's how I use it. Because you can't break out a hammer for every job if you're a carpenter.
Yeah. That's I love video parts. Filming video parts is the sickest when someone has like put the time in to like get a sick song and they find all these
Yeah.
spots and you just build this thing with all your friends. It's like the best ever, dude. Skateboarding is just good for
Yeah.
people in general. It helps them like learn how to be playful, fall down, get back up. Like it's the whole drama of life. Like if you stick with
Humility.
something long enough, there's gonna be ups and downs too, you know, like, and you're gonna want to keep progressing, and then you're gonna plateau and learn to live with it. And Yeah, sticking with skateboarding has been one of the most challenging, rewarding things like ever. And it's like so fruitful in the sense that like all your friends and the community and the people and like
Yeah, no, totally. You said the thing about plateau. I think that's a perception, and I mean, and I'm not trying to. I'm not arguing or anything. I'm just saying because plateau, like that would mean you get to a height and you just stay there. But like, I mean, even there's always fine tuning, and I was talking about somebody doing that. But like, I mean,
yeah, I mean in the
it's
sense like you're
again.
gonna hit setbacks if you stick with anything long enough because you're not gonna be enough and you're gonna hit walls or maybe not a plateau.
What,
I don't know what direction, but you're definitely gonna hit. You're gonna see that you could
no,
have
no.
been more.
And yeah, we'll always say that and that's the reason why we'll always try to, even if it's not this, we're always going to find something to be, like, get, be able to, heighten or sharpen our edge or heighten a skill of some sort because it's like I've seen a lot of people that maybe quit skateboarding, but like they found something else, and they're you could see there's that spirit lives on,
Yeah.
so it makes like less detrimental on the body because the skateboarding could be abrupt a lot if you're not skating transition, and even still.
Yeah,
Um,
you've been
but
skating a long time. Like you've been skating a long time. So it's as you get older with skateboarding too, you got to keep expanding. It's the worst when you meet someone who like they let skateboarding fuck them up, you know? You're like there's people that just like
well,
it's like a bad habit for them, dude. I'm like, "Oh man."
Well, and that's the part where I was thinking about the level. Is like some people think of themselves in a certain way. It's like I'm not always going after big rails or trying to do like anything specific other than the thing that intrigues me at the time. So like any spot can give me inspiration, and it does. Manuals are not my friend generally, but even a manual, like something I could be totally inspired about that, and it's like that to me could be like better, and especially like because I like to make videos and stuff like that, that could be better than like heel flipping a 10 stair or something like that,
Oh
for
yeah,
instance.
yeah, yeah. That's why I
Because,
kind of like
yeah,
started a YouTube channel because I started filming a bunch of people too. Like I always love filming and editing and like the phones nowadays, it's like insane what you can film and edit. And dude, start a YouTube channel because I've been doing that for like 12 years and I just film like everybody in New England basically and all these my
all right.
crew. It's sick, man. Like I just put up consistent like videos like once a week or once every other week and I just skate with a lot of different people and then I'm like
I have
filming or ask them to film me. It's like 4-on-1 style a little bit, like vlog style.
Yeah, I have a YouTube, and there was a point where I was more consistent. I used to do the Park Ranger series,
Oh
which I would post
yeah.
that. I'd post it up at least twice a month or something like that. Some
That's
points it
sick.
was like once a week. But I'm gonna redo those. Like part of that was also part of coming down to the city, being around more people, more parks. There's just like but being more serious about it because I was doing it all myself, and so I wasn't having sponsors or any other. Well, I would have filmers and stuff like that, but it wasn't budget. It was budget. It didn't have a budget.
Yeah, yeah,
But this
yeah.
time is doing it grown up because I was just learning too. So I was doing them and editing them, and that's how I was learning how to edit. So I
Yeah.
choose, I get the song, I get go to a park and just like film as much as I could in the time. Or towards the end, I started doing multiple days because I was including more people.
That's
Because
sick.
usually I would just go to a park in that day or those 2 hours or whatever, who's there, or it would just be me and the filmer. So, but there's at least I never really counted officially, but there's at least like 70 of them probably, and I
Damn,
did them
that's sick.
throughout. Probably a good 10 years or something like that. Like after I kind of, what people say I disappeared, but I was just cruising around doing just skateboarding and doing, like doing stuff that under the radar because I wasn't working with brands. And that's what, when people say that, oh, you disappeared, it's like, yeah, I wasn't visible because there wasn't a brand promoting me. And when
Yeah.
you do your own brand, and you're not like heavy on super promote, pushing yourself out. Like I do a bunch of stuff on Instagram, but it's I'm not super. I'll promote on that, but I'm not pushing it. I'm not boosting and making sure a bunch of people see it. I don't pay to get people to look at me.
No,
So
no,
it's more.
it's nice to organically
Yeah,
grow something, because you have to do the work
that's
to,
how.
yeah.
Well, that's how we came up. I mean, like that's the thing is like I only know how I did it, and that made more sense, and it still makes more sense because like you see all these people virtual. So most of these people they're virtual friends. So if you're not putting up anything, they disappear. So, but back, like if you had the handshake, the face to face, that still works. That still means something. But you see, like some of the younger people now, they can't even look you. Well, it was always like this, I guess. And maybe even our generations and stuff. But like being able to look somebody in the eyes, and shake their hands and actually be able to talk to them genuinely and not just I want. Because I mean, if I had just did that when I was, I mean, with businesses like this, yeah, you have to tell, you have to talk about what you want, but like my relationships weren't all based off of it's just me and I'm the greatest, and like nah, I
It wasn't like
like
self-promotion, you're just skating.
yeah, well, that was our promotion because back then we weren't. I didn't even consider talking myself up. I was just like, you see what I do, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like I mean, this should be enough, right? I mean, obviously there's more dimensions to it. We find out as we get older, but that I was a billboard, and so are most people until you start to really like learn how to navigate properly, learn how to actually extend your network.
It's crazy
So,
how
and that's
it's crazy how
yeah.
skateboarding, like, learning about sponsorship through skateboarding is such a crazy concept.
Well, no, not so much. To me, I don't think so because it is a business from the start. And then, but the thing is that it allows for different types of people, different generations to be amongst each other and to build a respect with skills. I mean, most of the people that are doing it, using it, they're building skills, but not considering it as a business. But it's like, when it comes down to any business, your work ethic, your work is important. So like when you step back and look at it like that in general, it should make more. It's you take the topic away because you have passion for it. Take it away and then like put that on something else. It's like the same thing. It's just
Yeah.
that we we want to look at skateboarding as the beautiful art that it is, but it's calculated and it's
Well,
been calculated before we got into it because all the wheels and the trucks and everything was molded to be sold.
yeah, I guess the game of sponsorship is like that. Like, you could just skateboard your whole life and never have to get sponsored or make a living from like some of my friends just do it, like, always. Just like, I started skating for that, and then when sponsorship came, it was like, it was a good thing, and it carried me so far, and then there was a point where I was like, I just got to do it myself, and then I just like learn how to do it myself. But like, all that's just
Yeah.
like learning how to skate. Like, you started when you were 12. I did
Well, yeah,
too. I started when I was 12. How's your family life, if you don't
no,
mind me asking?
well, I mean,
How'd you grow up?
basically, I
How'd you
mean,
grow up?
how I grew up. There was partly in Compton, like mostly in Compton until I was about. Well, I mean, it's sparse after two. Like I was in there till I was probably like 2, and then I was taken away to San Jose early around when I was 6.
Did you have your mom and dad in your life?
Like 10, but it was mostly with my great grandmother, and I was amongst family. It was never like super traumatic, but we grew up in Compton, so there's the gangbanging and stuff and all that. But once I got into San Jose was just really diverse, and I was kind of like a last, I had other siblings, but we kind of were free to kind of wander around because back then it was still, San Jose was still kind of, a lot of places were rural. So there was fields, like they built like townhouses, and then like in the next lot, like for a good mile or whatever, almost there'd be like a field that hadn't been developed yet, and creeks and stuff like that. So we kind of wandered around. But there was, different situations that we weren't like in the best of income. So with my mother, and so there's kind of different episodes that weren't the greatest as far as like economy. But I mean, generally there was love, and it's just there's different when people are growing up, as you know, there's like most people that have children aren't ready to have them.
Yeah, that can happen for sure.
Yeah, so you end up being shuffled around, and you end up learning to grow up from other people, or the things that you learn from the people that you're growing from are actually things you have to unlearn as you get older. But you don't know that, because as a child you were like computers or fresh, we just being programmed. So until you realize that it really doesn't compute, and that means that you have to like run into brick walls in real life, like doing business or actually with other relationships, friendships, or things of that nature. But skateboarding is actually really good for that. It was really good for that once I got into it, because it helped me I guess compartmentalize stuff, because a lot of people are running around like, even though they say things aren't bothering them, if they can't focus on anything, because it's still running in the background. So when I was about 12, I found skateboarding, and it helped me kind of focus on just doing one thing and not worrying about what I couldn't change, because that's a lot of the burden of children, is that children want to do the things that they learn the sorrows of adulthood, but don't quite comprehend them, and then want to dream about trying to fix those issues, but don't realize that those issues are coming for you too.
Well said.
But so yeah, there's I don't really talk a lot about my childhood, because there's a lot of just details that, like, I don't know, like when it comes down to people that skateboard, most people don't really give a fuck, to be honest, and it isn't really their business. And so like throughout skateboarding, I really never really talked a lot about like specific instances, because like if we get too caught up in other people's lives, then we don't focus on our own. So I wasn't trying to sell myself. I was helping sell skateboarding, the skateboards and the wheels and the shoes and all that shit. But at the same time, I didn't lose focus of who I was, and that's the main reason why I still care about what happens to other people when they get into skateboarding, because it's like Never Land. You get in it, you can actually be 50 and still think like a 7-year-old. There's so many people I've run into that, like, you would think they had it made, but like there's a lot of social issues that we have. you know,
Yeah.
and you find out more about them as we get older. And because you don't, you know, we all run in our directions, but until you look up, you don't realize, well, this is the reason why the world is the way that it is. You know, is because a lot of people, even if it's not skateboarding, they'll find something like we found skateboarding. Skateboarding helped us open our eyes. A lot of people go with trends, so they'll never realize that they're not actually living. You know, they're just following. And you can't. You can only be a believer so long, because once you find out the truth, then you know. It doesn't you don't function off of beliefs once you know.
Yeah.
But you know, that was the thing that skateboarding is like. The first shinner or the first injury, you decide. It's like, do I want to keep doing this or not? And ultimately, it's like, for all whatever I would have considered pain before in my childhood, skateboarding was like, damn, you know, I'll take the pain for that, because it actually prepared me for what I thought. You know, I was like, oh, that's nothing.
Yeah. It's worth,
You know,
that's worth it for sure.
Yeah. And then, you know, and then then it just perpetuates. But most of I was kind of well, not kind of, I was a super introvert. So I didn't have a bunch of friends when I was young. And most of my friends, once I got into skateboarding, it was about skateboarding more so than we really hung out. So I'm a nerd. Social life, I didn't really have much of a social life until after I got away from skateboarding, because most of the people that were talking to me during skateboarding they were either competitors or people that, I don't know, that they really, there's a way that people, fan is short for fanatic. And there's a way that some people look at you and they'll never hear or see you when they do get around you. And it's because of all the videos or the magazines that they saw me in and never actually met me until we got older. And they had all these maybe dialogues in their head, like the whole makeup of me was the things that they were imagining.
Oh, dude, I for sure am a fanatic of your skating. Your Switch Smiths, for sure, dude. Actually, your whole Switch game is fucking.
but check it out. But that's the skateboarding, you know, and that's something you could see. But people imagine me to be a certain way. So as I'm older, and I, you know, like, some people can't see me as I'm the age that I am. So
yeah,
as they don't see me knowing anything. They think I'm only a skateboarder. And even before I was a skateboarder, I knew things and I did things, but I never talked about them. You know, like I was saying with my personal life, my social life, it wasn't, I never thought it was as that important to anybody else other than the people that were participating in it. And I mean, that's really what it should be, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know, people, you know, I find out from interviews that most people only want to hear about skateboarding. But, you know, I do that. And it's like, I don't, even when I talk about it, I'm not really talking about it, because it always, you know, what are we really talking about? Social studies, because ultimately it's like people ride skateboards. So people are more important than the skateboard.
Yeah,
because
I
ultimately
always.
it's a tool.
Yeah, I always say, like, it's, you know, it's just a piece of wooden wheels. It's the person's energy that moves and does things with it, you know, like,
Yeah.
which is cool. Like, that's how there's a skateboarder. Get him a skateboard.
Well, I mean, you know, like, what's funny about is like definitions. It's like, okay, so before it was a label, somebody was doing the things with the thing that we call skateboard. So how can you be called something after the fact? You know, like when you think about the label, it's like it's I don't know. It's like, that's one of the things I get caught up in a lot, is like not just etymology, but the words and what they mean. and it all is like, because it all defines our world, sentences and all these things. We define how we think by the words that we use.
Yeah,
So
it's amazing. It's amazing the depths of life you can understand if you can find the words to describe it.
well, and it's just like skateboarding, or skateboarding is like a means of kind of it helps me like focus and use the, go into the words. Like it's the same as learning tricks. So you start, when you have an idea, when you first learn how to ollie, and then you learn how to pop shove it, and then you start, I want to flip the board. There's probably the varial flip before the kick flip, but then you start to realize the mechanics of it and stuff like that. And that's the same thing with words. The more that I actually, because of skateboarding, because of how technical I got into it, then I started looking at words and started breaking them apart and started, like, reading definitions on them, finding out all these different things. So then it made me like start thinking about what I was saying. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, people think I'm crazy, but it's like, remember when we were like all sweaty walking into the store to get whatever sweaty, dirty, just like insane looking. So why am I different now as an adult? I'd probably be more insane, probably practically, other than the fact that I don't just walk around like just looking so crazy, but I probably think even more ridiculous.
It's
But
awesome.
it's more, it actually has a purpose now. And I had a purpose then, but my purpose was to grind the shit out of that curb, and get it to where I could pop out or something like that. But it wasn't for, I didn't imagine that it would turn into these years, but there would be business, there would be places, like all places that I would go with it. I didn't even
Yeah.
consider that, because I was so focused on the moment, and every moment after that is what happened. It's like I focused on the moment, and people were like, "How did you do this thing?" And that's how I did it. It was like, "Oh, I saw this opportunity." It was like I grinded that ledge, and then there was like then there was a handrail down the way. So I was like, "Oh, I figure out. I'll try 50-50 it." and then like, the photo, and then the rest is his story.
Yeah, skateboarding
But
will take you on a moment for fucking your whole life if you let it. You end up traveling,
no,
skating, get to fucking meet people. You have highs and lows and all the video parts. You guys did so much stuff. It's awesome. Like creating the
but
culture.
think about it like this. Now, well, because we learned how to do that, because we made it a skill. Now we define what we do, and we see, that's the thing that a lot of people kind of don't ever think about. I think they don't realize that, well, you learned how to really be an author. You, like you're saying, building a skate park. You like, if you get the song and then you want it to have a certain flow, you decide if it's going to be all clips or if it's going to be a bunch of lines, or if like what kind of, where I want to get these. You start to define yourself. You start to actually know what you want. If nothing else, you can ask most skateboarders what they want outside of skateboarding. They're probably like not sure, but like the ones, and I'm talking about people that really love to ride skateboards. But
Yeah,
if you ask them what they take them skating or whatever, ask them what they want to do, they will find what they want to do, right? They
definitely.
won't. They won't sit around. "Well, I don't know. Like, maybe you just give me an idea." Like, those are people that aren't really into it. Like, I think, because like when somebody gave me a new skateboard, I realized that like two of the early influence people that helped me, uh, uh, Chris Sutherland, Slappy, and then this guy Mike. I just realized that they know each other. Mike DiCipolo.
What?
He did this clothing called Sipwear. He was like one of the first people to buy me an actual skateboard from, like, I think he bought a whole setup, and he was the first outside of like getting money for presents or whatever. But he was the first individual to ever like, I guess what people would say, believe in me.
Yeah, legend. What a
So
legend.
Yeah, it was crazy. But I just recently, like a couple days ago, just realized that these two guys that were like really instrumental in me getting into the industry, like they actually recently were just hanging out.
That's wild.
And yeah, it's pretty crazy. But and then that's the thing about life. It's like some of my some of the greatest influence, and now like learning about friendship as I'm getting older. Because when we're young, we don't know what friendship is. You don't have experiences. It's like I'm saying now, I'm really starting to see what that is, to know what it is. Because like people would say, "Oh yeah, that's my friend," but most people are so cutthroat. Especially with this, when you're dealing with the skateboard industry, it's like people that are calling you every day. Once you're not with that company, you don't get no calls. They don't even call you back.
Yeah.
It's so crazy superficial like that. But in the moment, it seems so real. But that's one of the things that it's like, I think that stuff, like learning that stuff early, was a blessing. Because there's people that still haven't had that lesson, and they honestly will, when they get famous or they get recognized, they honestly think that most people really are thinking about them when they're not on the TV or not this or that. They really, it's kind of insane to recognize, because I've seen certain people actually, and they act out in a way in real life. They act it justified. They think they're justified to be assholes, but it's like, well, those numbers you're accounting, they really don't exist. And even if they do, they only care about you for the moment they can pass that clip around and say, "Oh, that was crazy."
Yeah.
And the Insta world makes it so different than it was, because we'd run into assholes back. And like, skateboarding's full of narcissists. A narcissist, for anybody listening, would be somebody that functions off of low self-esteem, and generally they act like they're better than everybody else. But anybody that recognizes a narcissist, you'll know that, like, they're what people refer to generally as bipolar. It's like when they're unhappy, it's like the worst thing in the world. But when they're happy, it's like, yo, like everybody like needs to be involved in this and shit. But it's like generally most people are somewhere in between. It's like, we get happy, but it's like happy and sad. It's like you're not bouncing back between them, and or plotting to like stay in a certain. I gotta be happy all the time.
Yeah.
But it's like I've run into so many people that feel like, most people are very negative, because and I can be perceived that way, but and I because I think that way, and it's because of skateboarding, not because of skateboarding 100%, but it's because I think about fixing things, solutions. So like in order to get better at skateboarding, in order to do tricks, or get like better, like more consistent, you have to focus on solutions. You can't be thinking about the negative. You think about it only to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So like when people read me as like, because I focus on that, because I run into a lot of things, and I think it's probably just me, my nature. But I don't. On a typical basis, it's like without influence of if it was just me, I would be fine. But it's like I'm, looking at other people and going, oh, it could be better if they were, cool with themselves. But
It's insane.
skateboarding,
It's
just like commercialism, like anything, is like that's part of the reason why people aren't cool with themselves. But skateboarding is, if you can let go of what other people think about you,
yeah.
it has to be what you care about more. It has to be about what you care about. But most people don't know what they care about, because they have never focused on themselves. And
Yeah.
skateboarding makes you it makes you do that.
Yeah. Dude, Learning, dude, I agree with all of that. Like learning to, it's crazy that we come into this life and it's like boundless potential. And then it's like, it's just a matter of how you look at it, you know? And then you have to carry yourself through all this time. And then you like tarnish your potential and you forget it. And then you're like going for years. And it's crazy because it's like the longer you live, too, the more you're being pulled out of ignorance if you're doing it right. Because you came into a new world that you didn't create, like the people ahead of you created it, and you're coming into this portal, into this world, and you have to inherit the earth and take it over and create the next lines, you know? And it's crazy too because we're like bodies and we have spirits. It's like multi-dimensional. The whole experience of being
Yeah.
alive. Being alive is like
Well,
hard for people to understand or or
yeah.
harness. You were talking about frequencies and vibrations. It's like highs and lows are fun for a while, but ultimately it's like you want to try to be just okay with life in general, you know, like at your best or try to get better, you know. It's hard to remember that though. Life is long, you know.
Yeah. Well, see, but that right there is like it's like short, or like when you get to a point where you actually like some people, they've spent so much time doing what other people wanted them to do, or they thought other people wanted them to do. Life for them was like super long, but then once they wake up, and then it generally could be very short, because if you start to realize, wait, shit, this is, I'm doing this, and you set goals for yourself, and you start to realize, like, oh shit, this is great, and then the next thing you know, like, time flies when you're having fun.
Oh
A
yeah.
lot of people haven't been much of fun. It's like that's one of the things that when people are like, you did a bunch of stuff, it's like, well, yeah, or they don't even say that. They don't even know the half. But I did a bunch of stuff because it was all fun. It was all the things, even the negative things. Like I find a way to learn something from it.
Yeah.
So at a point I don't really drag any, like even with like the sorrow, or like what people would consider negative feelings and stuff like that. I use it to write about. I harness it and use the energy, because the
Like
energy is
transmute
neither,
it.
yes, the energy is neither good or evil, negative or positive. Those are perceptions. It's energy, and it just needs to transfer. I have it in me, so then I have to do something with it. And skateboarding is a conduit just the same. So, I just learned how to, people, like I had some, it's a negative thing, but I had somebody who was telling me I should quit skateboarding, and said it to me a couple times, and it was like interesting to think about. But when I always check the messenger. It's like, who's saying this and why are they saying it? And I was looking at he wasn't offering an alternative, and I was looking at his life, and it's like he wasn't happy with it. So, what's that? Like, one of the first lessons I was learning or told was misery loves company.
Yeah.
So, um, but skateboarding allowed me to, like I was saying, compartmentalize it, but it allowed me to focus. So when I'm not skateboarding, I'm focusing on something else, and I'm like in it, just like the same kind of focus that what I try to find an excitement, or if I have a purpose in it, then it makes me like, I want to make sure that this gets done, and done as best I can. And if, it's just like anything, you will land it, and like I may do a job, but then it's like, well, I could do that better, but that one's over. So I'll, there's like editing or filming, like you're saying. It's like I've just been doing this stuff, just as some of it is maybe just like half as long as I've been skating, but it's been a long time. But I never considered it a business, and then never sold, not never, but like I don't promote like I sell it.
Yeah.
But it's like, I learned a bunch of different things during being pro, and then after, and even before. So, just as anybody like yourself, we have when you find clarity, you realize there's certain things that you don't want to give up, and these are certain things that like they could be potentially very lucrative if you like do them right, but ultimately they're necessary. It's just like, like I'll always draw, and I drew before I got into skateboarding, or, like even riding and stuff. I did that before I got into skateboarding, but I became known for skateboarding. Skateboarding's, I talk about like, I learned that I already had culture, but, there's the whole black and white thing. People that follow my stories, or sometimes I talk about it directly, but the caste system. I learned that people were acting like they call me black or African American, this or that, and they act like we are a cultureless people, and that is farthest from the truth. And one of the things is like just the beginning of that is to like break it down. It's like the 5 pillars of culture. Knowledge being the most important, but there's reading, writing, reciting, dance, and manipulation of technology. Like these are things that are necessary to as a functioning, cultured individual, because culture is not something you can claim, it's something that you practice. So like say people that call themselves Christians or Jews or this and that, they have to be about what they claim they're about. And that means that it involves all those things. So they will always have to be learning about what they claim to be. It's like I don't claim to be anything. I am who I am, but I practice, like all of these things in some way, shape, or form throughout the day, like every day.
You definitely are what you definitely are what you repeat, whether it's a thought or a physical action. It definitely
yes. The thought manipulates the physical. Like, I mean, regardless, like you can see, like for instance, like a liar. I always point the finger, but most people that are unhappy, you can see them there. And I say a liar, and I don't mean they have to even tell you a lie, but it's like somebody being opposite who their true nature, and that's somebody like, that's why I bring up trends, with skateboarding. Skateboarding there's so many levels to it, and only when I talk about skateboarding, this is riding the skateboard. It's not about the clothes you wear, it's none of that. It's not, it doesn't even, it could be body mechanics because each individual is unique. But when I'm talking about that, it's like, well, if they're natural, then I'm not like, I can't even if I'm not into that way that they do it, I can't ever really like call it bad. But when I see that somebody's like wearing a uniform and then they do certain things with their arms, or they're real rigid, trying to make themselves, it's posturing. It's like, so that's not who you really are. That means that you're not being fluid in your individuality, because you can see the body is rigid. So it's a lie to me. It's like maybe to them it's not a lie because they're actors, and that's the performance that they're showing, they're trying to set out to give. But I feel like nature flows, right? Like water, but the people that are real stiff and stuff, they're either withholding or trying to present something that isn't actually that, like
we carry unnecessary weight for far too long sometimes too,
Yeah, and that makes us not, so we're not fluid. So that means that, and that is the way you speak. It affects everything. At some point you can tell. It's like, well, that's, and as we're in, all I can talk about mostly is the present. Is that as we're older, it's something that's so apparent, and it's something that I don't have a problem with it, but it's something that it's hard to look at, I guess, or to hear. And that's like almost a lot of people that never really fulfilled like ideas that they wanted to do, They just said, I'll do this because this is what I'm supposed to do, or this is the sure bet, or they're giving up the time to write their story to actually fabricate one. But a lot of people don't even realize that that's what they're doing.
Yeah, like your life is
And
it's cliche to say, but your life is a gift, and it's like yours in particular. Why fight it? Go with it. See where it takes you. It should be more of an adventure, not, maybe like water
yeah,
rolling down a river or something.
that's why I was saying with they're all rigid. That means they're it's like posturing. It's
And
like,
that's
why do you
how
need to do that?
I learned a lot about dis-ease, two words, but disease. And it's like
Yeah,
we create
yeah, yeah.
dis-ease in our mind and our bodies, and then it creates disease if it becomes a practice. And we all do
Yeah.
that because we
Well,
all
no,
have those vices and things that we're battling. Like sometimes mine's anger or something stupid, or then you learn something and then you realize you didn't learn something. You're back at the beginning in life.
check this out. Check this out, though. It's like, when we're saying we're battling, and I like that, the disease, because, that's breaking words down, because most words are compound words, and the compound words, like understand, it means two different things. What most people think it means now. Most people think it means comprehend now because they put it together in a compound word, but it still means what it means. And dis-ease, yeah, the same thing. But
I've been listening to Ram Dass lately. I don't know if you know who Ram Dass is, but you should check him out.
I'm aware of him. I don't go too deep in specific people, but like the philosophies, like the knowledge that, yeah, definitely, like I've come across him, and certain things, and I have conversations with people, like like how we're having a conversation, and this is how I learn learn a lot of things as well.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, Ram Dass talks about death a lot, but in like because he used to just hang around with he helped out a lot of AIDS patients, and he would hang out with people that
yeah.
were dying all the time. So he always tell stories about that, at least recently.
So check it out. So you know who Eckhart Tolle is?
Yeah, I do. Power of Now, I think
So,
that was his book, right?
yeah, so it has the same reference, like when talking about death, in a sense, because he realized, when I kind of got into him for a period of time, I liked his philosophy. He realized he was very unhappy, and then he realized one day, looking in the mirror, that he didn't have to be unhappy anymore. But then he had to realize, not just realize, make real, that I'm going to be happy, but you have to fulfill that. You have to be that purpose. You have to move forward in that in order to have it. But you can not always, you can't attain something that, you can be how we decide to be. And he would realize that he created a persona of unhappiness, but it was just a persona. So like, it's like how that's what people with skateboarding is. Some people, or rapping better, people will have a nickname. For instance, like Method Man. So Method was his real name, Clifford Smith.
Yes.
I don't think Clifford is the same as Method Man. Like when Clifford is the guy that has the real relationships with the real people, and then Method Man is the guy that's doing the show.
That's
So
the
Method
persona.
Man, the persona is not, but that's not who Clifford is. Really is. That's just a dimension of Clifford.
He's he's creative enough that he can create that character and have dimensionality.
And what's great about Method Man is Method Man can have like, just in the name, he's allowed to be versatile.
Yes.
His method, various methods, so he could be all kinds of different folk in embodied by one individual. And that's kind of, it's like a metaphor for him being, Clifford. It's just like the superhero thing. It's like all comic book, the superheroes is like, it all stems from an ordinary individual. And then all this greatness, but that's the truth though. It's like anything that ever was manufactured by manufactured. Ultimately, the spirit, we are the spirit, but in this realm, there's the body, and we call it man. Man, in generalizing, but there's the womb that gave us the humanity, but
woman, tag team.
Woman, yes. But see, that's another thing about the words, though, is like calling her, or calling what brought us here. Did the chicken come before the egg, or the egg?
Oh yeah.
But ultimately, if we talk about God, it would be the womb. It would be the woman. So everything came from that, and woman is actually a name that somebody else gave her. And that's one of the things, identity, I was talking about culture, is that people refer to me as Negro, Black, colored, African American, this and that, but never ask me what do I refer to myself as. And it's even deeper than that. It's like I realized that, I've learned, you talking about vibrations, is that my name, the name that was given to me by my mother, it's only mine if I claim, as long as I claim it. But then I learned that, okay, so Gershon means, it's Hebrew, and it means sojourn. Sojourn means short stay. So it was funny to think about my life through the name that I was given. And it's basically, I've bounced around all around since I've been alive, as far as I can, after I was able to leave, I traveled. I've been traveling the whole time. I'm still traveling.
Sick. That's awesome.
But that, it's a vibration. So this I learned about identity when I was out in Kansas City, learning about, I was still going through the journey. So I was following the Moors, Moorish Science Temple, that stuff. And they have information, they have knowledge, but the way that they're applying it, and some of them, though, it's business tactics and it's stuff that keeps you in the United States, which is a corporation. But people, when we're talking about legal and lawful, the law would be the land, and then the legal is contracts. So names, the birth certificate and stuff, the tax ID number, or what you call social security number, or what we're led to call that, it's just a tax ID number. So that's a corporation, and a lot of us aren't aware, or were not allowed to know as children. They should have taught us this in school, or taught our parents or grandparents this.
Oh man, school missed the boat on a lot of good things, for sure. Well, I'm sure it helped in some areas, but
schools are corporations.
Yeah.
So schools are part of the whole situation. So it's not by chance that they don't teach you specific things, because they want workers. They don't want entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So
or they
basically
just,
with
they
ideas.
Sorry.
So basically with ideas, I realized that it's okay, that's just paperwork. So what you call yourself, you can just go and change I can go change my name using the recorder of deeds. I just have to announce it. And then, because a lot of people legally, they have to go to court and shit like that. But we were before the United States. So we could just determine that I'm going to call myself this, but I have to announce it to the public. So in order to I use the recorder of deeds to make this official, get it certified, and then I have to put it on record in the public. So in the newspaper, or probably can be used social media, but like finding out that identity, I was talking about persona, method man, all this stuff, is a lot of the people have, a lot of people I've grown up with have a name from where they came from, and then they have an American, or what they call an American name, but it's a U.S. citizen. The U.S. citizen, the tax ID number, and the birth certificate, they can call themselves whatever. It's a business. But we were led to believe that the name, and look at it, if you look at yours, it's in all capital letters. It's a corporation. It's not you. And and we don't own that paperwork. And it's just like the Social Security card. If you read the back of it, I don't know if they still put that, but it says if lost, return to sender, and it's not your address. So it doesn't belong to us. So like buying anything under those names and that situation gives it to property of the people that own that. Most people don't know that, and this is why most people don't actually have anything and will never have anything. And it's not that the system changed or is changing. It's just that they always gave everything they owned to everybody else. It's like the registering to the DMV. If you realize that driving, you don't drive unless you're doing business with your automobile. Because if you call it an automobile, it's different than a vehicle. A vehicle implies you're doing work. They have various words. Like in the one thing that you have to know about corporations is that if you use any specific word, it has to be specifically defined as what it means. So you can't use a popular word. Like when a cop asks you, do you understand? Understand when a cop asks you does not mean do you comprehend what I'm saying to you. It means do you give jurisdiction? Do you stand under my authority? Which cops do not have authority over people because they are corporate agents. So you have to become a corporate agent in order for them to exercise any type of liberties over you or take away your liberties, because that would say you're part of a group that you by contract said that I give up my rights to be a part of this group, because you can't have a bunch of people saying my rights, because at some point nobody's going to get anything done. So in order to be incorporated, in order to be a part of a nation or any of that, you have to go under codes and statutes. We were not taught this because that's how enslavement exists. Is like most people don't realize that they live to work, but they don't really live, because, like for instance, people would say that December 31st is the last day of the year. That's the last day of the fiscal year. But the beginning of the actual year would be what? Spring? So that would be, so you think about like if we look at the months and everything like a clock, winter, is when everything's dying. So like until winter's over, the year isn't over. But they've trained people to function off of the dollar. So it's all fiscal holidays, the fiscal year. And it's all the IMF controls this because currency.
Yeah, the currency definitely. You do the best you can in this world where everything's changing too. It's like what worked in the past doesn't work in the future.
Well, no. Check this out though. Just because things appear to be changing, it's like the ocean, but it's consistent. So what I'm saying to you is that you have to there's that saying, one cannot follow two masters. So think about what I said. It's like, okay, so people believe that the year ended just recently, but the year has not ended. So if you know better, then you will start to look at everything different. It's like Neo in the Matrix. Once you know that there is a separation, this separation is not just like how people think. Well, no, it's all about how people think. It's perception. That's all it is. Because it's like, for instance, it's like without the dollar, a lot of people may die literally because they don't know how to function without the dollar. But they don't realize that the dollar is only, it's an imaginary, it's a perception. It's like, it's only given power because we, like people will assume that it is worth this much when they on face value. But when people lose faith in the dollar, it is worth nothing. It's not worth anything right now. So like this, we've always been trading. There's people that don't actually even function with the dollar. They may still use gold or silver, and maybe only exchange it when they need to do basic things like, say, for instance, buy gas on the ground, because that's the only measure of exchange that they'll take. So they only like deal with the dollar only at a specific instance. So they only keep like $100 for gas like a month. And they may just now with credit they have it takes debits or whatever. But ultimately it's like there's some people that have never touched United States, not United States, but a Federal Reserve note. Like the wealthy people. The system, if you think about the fiscal year, the fiscal system, there's some people that have never even experienced it.
Yeah.
Because you live on an island. If you live on an island and everything you have your economy is like set for yourself, like if you know about trust funds, which that's basically what the United States is. It's a trust is like a corporation. So if you have it set up in a certain way, it's like you get all these other people to be a part of it. You don't ever have to do anything because, it's like, especially when you're dealing with about how the system works. It's like all financing is based off of the bodies that you can enumerate. So like churches and stuff like that, the way that these churches grow and have any type of power is all based on who? We the people. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Most people, anybody that immigrates to the United States, doing it legally, and even if they don't, they're coming here to work. So they owe allegiance to the dollar. So by contract, everybody that comes to the United States is coming here to make the United States wealthier. But this is how what happens is because people don't know how like corporations, businesses work, and don't realize that the United States is a business, is a corporation. They don't realize that there's people that know that administration comes in and they find ways to extort the corporation. So the corporation always resets to zero, or actually they keep it in a perpetual deficit. So that there's always some justification for a need to print more, which makes like every dollar worth less every time they print new dollars, unless they're burning them. Which when people keep them in circulation, hoard them and things like that, it makes every dollar that it does exist, it makes it worth less. And most people don't know that. So this is how they get people into the system, and then they keep them poor, and then they make them poor. Or actually they came in poor and they keep them poor.
And
so it's like
politicians want a sick, dependent population because they need to follow them.
Oh,
they need someone to follow them. Only some. Yeah, I'm not saying. Maybe not all politicians, but there's a lot of them.
No, but check it out. If without like a sick people, then they're not necessary. Think about it like this: the government is supposed to be of the people. The way that it's laid out.
Democracy.
So those people. So yeah, but think about it. If you ever read the Constitution, it never says anything about democracy. It's republics. It's a Republican form of government. That's the whole thing. Is like Republicans and Democrats that's a whole farce thing too. But the Republicans, the reason why you'll read about like, oh, the Republicans freed the slaves and all this stuff, which is bullshit, because the slaves are people of Slavic descent. The slaves are not brown-skinned people. It's like most people only think about what we were told as far as the definitions of the words go. But if you trace the definition to the etymology, you'll find that you yourself is a descendant of a slave more than likely. And just because of slave doesn't mean pale skin, but it's the region of where many pale-skinned people kind of hail from. Or not kind of, but do. But ultimately, with the U.S. system and definitions, think about who writes all the definitions. If you ever look up the definition for American, you'll see it'll say was the title for the copper-skinned people races found on the Americas, now used for descendants of Europeans. Who wrote the definition? Think about all the definitions you ever read. Is that you have to consider this? Is that like most of what we are given as far as information is given by certain people to make it seem like they have a right to things, which they don't. People that are not from the Americas don't have a right to anything in the Americas. So it's all corporations. So that's going back to the people coming to the United States through immigration. You're beholden by contract to the corporation, which is used to subvert the actual people of the lands, just like Australia, just like Canada, just like like Argentina, or any of the places that are the states. You got these people, the paler skinned people that moved in from Europe, all over the world. But it's because these are corporations, colonies that are it's a Trojan horse. And it's not that anybody that's coming here necessarily even realizes that. It's not that people come here, like not everybody came here to kill Indians, but through the corporate, it's like the Matrix. There's it's man versus machine. So the machine, people unknowingly, the only way the machine exists, the only way a corporation exists is because it's man-powered.
Yeah.
And so the plan is this, and I go back to the whole thing that I was saying, the two masters. So nature or machine. So fiscal year, you can be in the world but not of it.
I've heard that expression like the past week a few times.
Yeah. So this is what it means with this, is that that like if you're doing business, that's how the year ends. But that is just business. But you must recognize what is true. This is the whole thing about most people are believers, so they are by default liars, because if they think that they'll argue this, oh no, this is the end of the year and you ask why? Because I was told. But nature tells us, just like it's a clock, it tells us when the new year begins, is when everything starts to grow.
Yeah, our instincts are intuit. Like people have natural inclination to just understand it. It's your human nature almost.
This is our habitat. We're here. We're acclimated to it. Even if we aren't originally from here, we're acclimating to it. Or the ones that are truly about part of the habitat acclimate to it. So
it's just close.
So what I'm saying is that like recognizing within yourself, because each individual must choose, and it's like, and it's right or wrong is the perception, but it's like nature or the machine. You can do business being in the world, but not of it. You can do business, but you have to recognize that this is the truth of the matter, is that nature tells you what it is. So even down to who you are, how you feel, there's an intuition. It's like, right and wrong. That you don't want to see children be taken advantage of, and that's like, so like people that praise the dollar, it's like it's a tool where you can use a tool, but like the people that worship it, This is the reason for the enslavement of children. And that's where all of it begins. It's not, they talk about human trafficking, but that's where it all begins, is the children. It's not us adults, because the adults choose it now willingly, you know, but most of them never had a choice anyways, because they didn't know better. Because it's passed down generationally. Think about it like this. All the people that came here as indentured servants, most of their families, the generations that have been here, they're still working and will never not work. And it's all because and this is how simple it is. Well, I mean, it is and it isn't. It's knowledge. Knowledge is the key. Like, this is the difference between being like poor. Poor is the mind, because like there's people that come from nothing. I didn't come from like wealth as far as what monetary. However, I can make a deal tomorrow. You can make a deal tomorrow, you know, because of what we know and what we are able to do for other people. If somebody figures out how they could use us, then we're just another conduit for, you know, them to get that much greater. So that's all I've ever known. After I got into skateboarding and how I did it, I stopped making deals, because I was like, well, I have to know what I want before I make my next deal, because I got everything that I ever thought I wanted before. Like when I left high school, I was like, I want this, you know, and I fulfilled all what I thought were dreams. I fulfilled all my goals. And so I got to a point before I was 30 where I had to reassess my whole being, because I'm like, well, I know I won't be happy with just the way things are. If I have everything I need and all this stuff, but
you're full of potential. You're full of potential, Gershon. Yeah. Just your enthusiasm and your depth of understanding.
Well, and that was the thing, is that back then I realized that, yeah, potential. But if I chose the life that I could have just kept, then I wouldn't have learned much. You know, I would have, because that's what that plateau thing, I would have been nurturing I live to pay the bills, or I live to have this thing or have that thing, but it wouldn't be about like if I had chose the other thing, because I made a distinct choice. It was like starving artists or the you know, just be rich, or, you know, like do the thing, because it was just about I knew it was just about the right deals. And back then, it's like I could have just plugged into like certain things and then just bought stock and then this and that, and never have to worry about money. I don't worry about it, because it's like, you know, who created currency? Who created money? Think about currency. It's a wave. It's energy. We created everything, so why would we chase it? Just think about it. It's like skateboarding is like us riding it. It's like what we do on it. The whole thing that anybody would get a spark from came from a thought. So money didn't make that happen. We are money.
Yeah, I used to say early on the podcast, like, humans are the real currency, because there's nothing more valuable than a human, you know? And
currency, no, think about it. Look up the currency, energy, currency, current waves.
Yeah, there we go.
It is. And then waves, ocean, maritime admiralty law. You know, you look up maritime law, is the admiralty or law of the seas, law of contracts. It all goes hand in hand. Banks. You know, interest, birth, the boat docks. You know, you get the birth papers.
Yeah.
All the monetary system. All of the fiscal system is based on maritime law, the law of the sea. So you're dealing. So when you're talking about anything that deals with that, it's gonna you'll start to recognize, oh wait, this means that, and you'll start to see the metaphor. You'll see the duality of it, because we think of it this way, but it also appears this way. Like in a mirror, it's backwards.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, yin and yang, the symbol. That symbol is like, there's a reason why there's certain symbols that have like been forever. And it explains so much if you take time to think about it, and you look at the world and you look at this diagram, and this diagram explains almost every situation we ever deal with.
So I think I might be wrong, but I'll just, because I'm not a genius, but I think it was Ram Dass that was saying like duality is an illusion, and that when you die you go back into one, you know, or maybe while you're alive you can see things as one, instead of so dualistic with blacks and whites. And
well, check it out. You look at birth, what we call a child being born. You start in the beginning. There's just a circle, right?
Yeah.
And the circle multiplies and it splits in two, and then it splits, and then it keeps dividing. And what is it? The flower of life, and the sacred geometry. But remember, it first splits in two.
Yeah, duality.
So think about this. So if we recognize that, and then you're talking about only. We're talking about what we are. We have the power. We're thought. So if we think about duality, then there is. But like I said, if you can break it down, if you just look at it like this, like I said earlier, is that it's just perception. It's just energy. Energy is neither. It doesn't go anywhere. It's in this realm, we perceive it as negative or positive, but it's just energy.
It doesn't get destroyed.
So we were always just the one thing, the one. We are still just the one, but in this realm, there's this idea of division. But if you think about a body, if you were to look at a body inside out, from the inside, there's various cells unique to themselves, but they're all part of one whole constitution.
I think that's the biblical thing too, with Adam and Eve, and they bite the apple, and then they learn about duality, good and evil, because they were in paradise prior.
So yes. So if you think about the Bible is a bunch of parables and metaphors. So what you're saying, yes. So that's the proper way to perceive it, because Adam and Eve, maybe, like, as far as these people, they never existed. They're ideas, and then so you really just get into everything. The more that you look at what we're talking about, and really look at everything, and just simplify it to, you're just a circle. And if you want to know something, then you ask the questions to know. But you're not going to like try to justify why that is not true. You're not. You want to find. You want to be open to find.
Yeah. So don't deny your life that's coming to you. Don't reject it. Accept it.
Yeah. So negative is just. So what is fear? What is fear?
It's something that it's an emotion.
Fear is something you conjure. Think about it. No. This is, it's the same kind of similar thing. Is there a thought before the emotion, or does the emotion come before the thought?
Oh yeah.
but it's the same thing though. It's like we are the thought, so the emotion is something that we conjure. So fear, it comes from the id. It's like it's an imaginary thing. Because think about it, it's like we fear all these things, but generally when something happens, like, skating something big, a big gap or whatever, and you take the first tumble and you realize before you went at it, you're like, damn, that shit is gonna hurt. The first time you land and bail or whatever, spring up, and you're like, oh shit, I got this. Think about it, like. Fear was that, like, the reason why most people never went for the gap is because they were thinking about what might happen when they hit the ground. But what if you never considered that? Like, think about all the times things seemed easy or whatever, because you didn't ever think about what negative might happen. You leave that out.
You're talking to
if you leave the negative.
I battled like abusive, fucking broken family. Like my dad got shot when I was 12 and passed away, and my mom was on drugs my whole life. So like I dealt with a lot of like fighting off negative thoughts and feelings and just trying not to accept them, you know?
Yeah. So this is what we're talking about. So when you realize, you knew that you were doing that, you found at some point, I'm conjuring these negative thoughts, but these negative thoughts think about it like this: even if they were true, think about it like, so even if these thoughts that you conjure in your head, they come to fruition. Think about how many times you felt it before it actually became real.
Yeah.
But if you never think about the negative thing, because our thoughts affect the physical. So every time you think that negative thought, it gives you a feeling. You get all like, But if you never, like, so just to take it away from that, like lower the volume, back to the skateboarding or something. But
well, like the way I was able to cope with it was like I learned so much stuff from my mom. Like she was I love her to death, but she had a wild life and short wild life basically, and I kind of learned a lot from her through her active living, you know? So I took what I learned and tried to make it a positive, you know? Like that.
Well,
that's been a goal of my life. But it's like neither right. But so that might be perceived as a wrong or something bad, but it's benefited my life so much. Like,
no, it's not wrong, because this is how people would call it survival, but this is how we live, because whether it's extreme or not, we gather information, intel, and then we go from there. So yeah. Even something that, even what we were like, most of my growth was through situations that I thought were bad, and it's like, but it's like, that's where I learned more. But most of the good situations, they just perpetuated a cycle of me being stagnant, because if I got I realized it's like, if I do this, then this always happens, and it's always guaranteed. But then after a point, it's like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything, So what I was saying is that, like, I learned how to, and I think you did too, is to learn how to leave as best we could, But generally, with skateboarding, I don't think about the negative thing first. I don't even think about what negative. If I want to do something, I'm not thinking negative, because there's no energy for that. It's just like, I'm excited about making this happen. So yeah, at best there's like the escape route, like, just in case this doesn't happen, I got to make sure I can, skedaddle this way. But that, all that being said, is like, the lessons from all the negative, or what the perception of it is, allowed me to realize, and I know for you getting as far as you did, and the things that you don't allow whatever the imagined fear would be, because I mean, it's like, you wouldn't be doing the things that actually make you happy or allow you to remain happy, because I mean, if we shut off and just go chase the dollar, then eventually we'll implode.
Yeah, because,
I mean, we have to.
Yeah, I appreciate my life so much because of my mother. Like, I'm so grateful for life. Like, it's insane. Yeah. Like, it's like benefited me so much, and I agree, man. Like, I've been learning about meditation a little bit, and how our mind makes a terrible master but a good servant. Like, you don't want your mind to rule you, because you are more than mind. You're a soul as well. You're a spirit or something, energy or frequency,
Well,
something.
these are my. Well, check this out. With the
What
words,
moves the matter, you know? What moves the matter?
well, I mean, it would be the whole situation. It would see. This is the thing: is
Or
that like
what lights it up? What lights it up too?
well, check this out.
The darkness gets lit.
Check this out. It would check this out though. Like the what they used to say the Trinity: mind, body, and spirit.
Mm.
But if you consider that what the mind isn't the physical brain. The mind would then
It's a
also
receiver almost,
the
right?
mind would so like basically mind and spirit would technically be the same thing because but I recently came across some information where they were discussing that the spirit actually means breath.
That's
So
meditation.
like basically well yeah no and that's exactly it ties to that because every like without the breath then there is no life. So but the breath would be something that would be it would have to be the spirit that gives it to the
Yeah,
body, or
because
that's
we
what it's
don't,
called. But
it's crazy because we
but
don't
think about
actually make ourselves breathe. It just happens to us.
no, it's an automatic thing. But think about it like this. Think about it like this. The body is a spaceship, or it is literally that. So we're not the body. So we're actually controlling the body. My idea of it is like this. You know about the pineal gland, what they call the third eye.
I've heard of it.
So it's the pineal gland it's in the brain. It looks like the eye of Horus. If you look up the eye of Horus, the pineal gland, you'll see it basically has to do with dreams. I think it even probably it is the id. It is what conjures the fears or it's but basically they have ideas about it, but they really don't really explain what it does. But basically, it's like this. What I think it is how the spirit controls the body, or how whatever we are, which gives the body breath. The body is it's an automated flesh machine. But like we would be, well, how we would define the spirit or whatever, the mind, or it would be something that is somewhere else. It's not here. But we know that we're functioning. We see this and this and that. But like so my whole idea is that basically the pineal gland's like the remote control for the thought, which thought the Egyptian god, which that's a metaphor too. And it really it's what Jesus is it has to do with the pineal gland, and all this all has to do with the same thing when people talk about God and all these things. But there's the pineal gland sends a liquid down the spine, and then the spine it's
And there's chakras. I know that too. I've been learning a little bit.
It has to do with all of that. It has to do with all of that, but it's the physical function. The body's actually doing it. Sends a liquid in the. It's not just the electric.
Yeah. It's not just the
energy. Not just energy. This is the physical thing that's going on in the body, but the chakras are energy. But it's all tied together because it all ties to what we are. That's what I'm saying. We are the energy that actually that controls the body. But it's how can you explain something you can't see, but is you? We dance around this when we were talking about all the things we were talking about earlier. But that's really what's going on here.
It's because we're form and we're formless, and that's like a hard thing to. But that makes sense.
We are. Well, no, check it out. We are formless. The body is form.
Yeah, that's our ego vehicle.
So yin and yang. So we are the thing that controls the form. So we are the. So when they talk about
Are
this is
we?
one
Are
thing that
we?
when
Are we though, Gershon? Is not everybody is in control of their meat sack.
well, no, check it out, check it
But I
out.
get it. I
If
get
you
it.
don't make a decision, no, yeah, but if you don't make a decision, nobody's gonna make it for you. So
Yeah.
you'll just sit. So and even if somebody can't make you do anything, they have to force you. They have to you have to be somewhat willing.
they'll put you in a comfy fucking prison that you can sit in.
Well, but it's still, they have to then, in order for you to live, they have to still feed you and do all these things. If you
Yeah.
decide to not do anything, like a Gandhi, for instance, he decided he would just waste away. I'll just starve myself. It's like this is a form of protest to certain people. Like if you're supposedly a slave and you just decide I'm not going to do nothing, then you become a liability in the sense that they not only they're gonna not get what they want out of you, but they're also gonna have to scrape your carcass out of there. They're gonna have to murder it or whatever. It's gonna become a lot. Becomes more of a trouble for them than they. That's the whole thing that people really don't really get. All of this that we're going through in this life is by choice. So even if people say they don't like the life that they're living, but they're making every choice to live that life. Think about denial. It's like that's where I talk about the liar. A believer will accept whatever they're told rather than find out what they can know. So so then they will always live a lie because the life that they live will be always something that it's fabricated. It's already given to them, but it's not really what they are here to. They know they're just accepting it. They're settling for it.
It makes me think of Pinocchio, where he's just not a real boy yet, and he gets pulled away and
yes.
doesn't take agency,
Yes.
and then the wolf and the fox take him, and then I love that movie's
Yes.
so wild. I know
Yes.
it's so wild.
No, that's totally it. Think about most people. The worst examples, like the people that we love. Most people have not become a real boy yet, because they are their whole life. Think about all the people that we knew that could have been good at skateboarding. They could have did something with it, but they're like, nah, I'll just do this because my mom wants me to go to college or this and that. And they're still doing that. They got married. I had children because the wife wanted me, and now I'm doing this because I got to pay for the mortgage. But none of it was anything they chose.
Yeah.
They never really became they still haven't become real. Because until you do what you really want, until you do the thing that you desire, even if it's wrong, but again, yin and yang or just a circle. It's like it's perception. Wrong. The only way we learn anything is to put our hand in the fire and realize it does actually burn.
Yeah, like negative could go to positive and wrong could go to right in some circumstances. Like if a wrong could happen, you could turn it into a positive,
But experience is the only way that you can truly have knowledge. You can't just read a book and know the things that are in the book.
It's just like looking at it's like looking at skateboarding and thinking you can do a kickflip before you've even stood on the thing. There's so many kids that think first day.
And think about it. I've met many people playing those video games, Tony Hawk's Pro Skateboarder and whatnot, honestly believe they could. And they talk a bunch of shit like they can, but those are the people that never do.
Yeah,
it's like think about how many people are bragging about stuff, but when you call them out, they're not even half of that, not even a third of what they're claiming, not even close. Most people nowadays, especially because fake is the thing. Most people that are being presented, they're putting on makeup. Or they're putting on clothes to feel more like what they're claiming to be. You put on a suit, people think you're money.
Yeah,
but
it's crazy. It's crazy.
A lot of people end up in court in suits, though, too.
It's crazy how many roles we play in life and how many we can play. It's like you could be a brother, you could be a son, you could be a father, you could be a friend. All the roles you can embody in the.
All simultaneously. Think about that.
Yeah,
Like,
which
well,
is
yeah,
true.
the capacity for what this experience is, and that's the thing, and that's why I say that some people, they're not living. It's like if you're always all these different capacities we can be, that we are, because yes, I'm a brother, I'm a friend, like I'm not a father, I'm not, but I'm multiple things. I'm an acquaintance, I'm a business partner, like maybe a mentor for some, so all these different things all simultaneously.
Yeah, it's insane.
But
I think that's why
it's about,
some people run from it, dude. Facing life is like a gnarly thing. Even the good things, like people, like even myself at times I've self-sabotaged because you just do that sometimes, Like you just like and we don't even know what we want half the time. We think we do, and then what we want isn't actually good for us a lot of the times.
but
People want to
the only way
run.
to know, the only way to get to know is to find out. You have to experience, and that's the thing. You got to make the choices to go and do it instead of just like waiting for the right time. It's like, well, if like when I every time
Time is an
skateboarding showed up
illusion.
for me.
Time is an
Well,
illusion.
no, check it out. Yeah, no, check it out. I only say time because in the past we can set it to a specific date,
Yeah.
but I only knew when skateboarding showed up for me. It was like, yeah, the bus is right here. It's like, you coming? Like, yeah, yeah, I didn't even say nothing. I got on the bus,
Yeah.
because it's like, if I don't take this trip, then who knows what the fuck will happen. But I took the trip and I'm still on it.
That's epic.
So, but I know a lot of people that had that potential, but they didn't take the trip. And some of them talk to me bad today. Some of them talk to me like they know I have the experience, but I know that they're narcissists because they're unhappy that they didn't take the trip, but it's jealousy. And so the only way that misery can misery loves company because it doesn't want anybody else around. Because think about miserable people. Happy people
You're a
make them
poor
even more miserable.
you're a poor reflection on them. You know?
Well,
That last thing you want to
well,
see is
no,
someone doing well when you're doing shitty. Like, fuck you.
yeah, well, and that see, and that's the problem with a lot of people is that they're not trying. They never tried. So anybody that did try, that's a problem for them. So like that's one of the things I come across is like I chose not to live like super, super have all the things and stuff, but I get the adventure. And then like as I talk about the things that I'm passionate about, when I'm talking to people I thought were friends, some of them reveal to me that they really don't give a fuck about what I think, especially because it seems like I don't have anything. So they think that because they buy into the material world, that, oh, I have this and that, and you don't have that, so I can talk to you how I feel. But see, that's the thing. I wanted to know the truth. So in order to know the truth about how people think about my art, or to think about me, I had to either take my name away from the art, the obtuse concept, or elders, or something else, and I had to take. And it's like I had to, and for myself, it's like I had to. The skateboarding is like I had to separate my individual self and actually say the things, and I'm judged for being who I am, and most people hold on to what they think of me as the past, but like we're in the present, and like I don't try to use the skateboarding to. That's not the identity. It's one
Yeah.
of the things that I do, and so I don't know.
That's a
It's
good
interesting.
lesson. Some people never learn that lesson. Like, it's a dangerous
Well,
one.
and that's the thing. And that's the thing is like being able to talk about it, being able to project it, because that's the thing is not just people need to hear it more. People need to hear about it more because more people are actually giving up their lives and actually just sitting around, and they still can get up and do something. But they're all making excuses, and every year, every minute, it just gets worse. And then that's what like really is making the idea of the world being so bad. That's really what it is, because People don't want to take responsibility for themselves, so why would they take responsibility for anything else? So then so it's crabs in a bucket. So then it's like you're not taking responsibility, but you also got to shut down people that are. You also got to stop them because it makes you look bad because what you're doing is actually putting weight on it.
Yeah, which is like brings us back full circle when you said you've just been out there like skating, meeting people, a handshake type of thing, because that's why I love doing all the skateboard stuff, because I get to be entrenched in it, it's not just like an abstract random thing.
That's the only way we got where we are.
Yeah.
Like we had to be out there. You still, if you call yourself a skateboarder, you got to get on a skateboard and ride it, right?
Totally.
You can't just be carrying it around like Linus with his blanket with your thumb in your mouth.
So funny.
I used to skateboard.
That's cool. What turned me on to like the YouTube channel, is there's so many people skating, and I would get injured, and I like to film and edit, and then I would just like film everyone else and show and that was like what made me want to do
something
that.
with yourself. Yeah, you got to do something with yourself. Like you said, there's so many. You can't just be calling yourself a skateboarder, because you're capable of so many other things at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, you're not doing it right now, but yeah, you can bring out the camera and film somebody doing a kickflip, and then you can take it back and edit it, and all the extras, photos, it's like it's people have a lot of people are convinced that like just a thing makes them something. Like, people think that the image of skateboarding makes them valuable, but they don't realize it's like, well, no, it's like what you think about yourself is really what makes you valuable, how valuable or whatever. I mean, because ultimately, to be of value to yourself would make somebody else, see immense value in you because of the potential. But a lot of people, they want to live vicariously through somebody else, so they don't really see that much value in themselves. They say, I could, but and enough excuses.
Yeah, talk themselves out of the thing they should be doing. Yeah.
Yes.
It's insane, man.
And think about it.
I was just gonna say, like, that's kind of like why all the business things I do with skateboarding and the media stuff, it's like it's a distraction from me skating and getting hurt, like, and it's me trying to expand myself as a person. So like running a brand, like I got to be accountable, and I have customers, and I have to like show up and have a schedule and be orderly, and and doing the podcast, I have to expand myself with my conversations and talking to people and meeting.
Yeah, you got to think about it like if you were going to exercise, you don't want to just go do work on the legs. You don't want to just work on one pec. You don't want to. You want to be well-rounded. So you got to do a little work on all the different aspects of yourself.
And we're potential. We can. Who knows how far you can take it? As far as just eliminating ignorance and learning and understanding yourself better, like every day is an adventure in that,
Yep.
I listen to like a lot of stuff all day while I like work and press the graphics on skateboards and stuff. I'm just like listening to philosophy and all different types of things and thinkers, and it's there's a whole galaxy in each of us, dude.
Sometimes you gotta listen to nothing. Sometimes you gotta listen to nothing too.
Oh, I've been learning. I mean, I've known that, but I've been paying attention more to meditation, where you just follow your breath in the mind. You let the thoughts come, you sit with them, and then you let them go, and you don't identify or attach to them, and you just breathe and be in the present. Because we're always trying to worry or stress about the future, or held back by the past. We're never in the present, and everything happens now. So it's like,
it's funny is we're always in the present, even though we would like to say our mind, because in the moment you're stressing. So that, and the body's feeling that. And so, I'm not saying you're wrong or anything. I'm just saying it's like literally that's the thing, is like, regardless of what we think, where we think our mind is always right now. Everything is right now, and that's all we have. That's what we have to really grasp. And so
I think
right
we
now,
I think we distract ourselves because our mind, like our obligations
so
are there, and then we build up these things to block them out because we don't want to do them. Sometimes, you
yeah.
know?
So in that moment, so you just think about it. In that moment, that's all you're doing. You're in the moment doing that, though.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like, even though we were. Oh, this is something about the memories. Did you ever hear that, like, okay, so you only actually have one memory, and then after that, every memory then is put together again off of that other memory. So it's like there's only one memory of one situation, and
It's
then
just a
everything else is
remix. All my memories are
yeah, it's a
remixes,
remix every time. Yes, yeah. So think about it like this. So think about it. All the trauma. This is one of the gnarly, and that's where this is where I got it from, psychology.
Yeah.
The trauma about negative thoughts. So every time we go back to something that we don't deal with, it's like the same intensity, like the same exact type of trauma we're reoccurring. So every moment that we do that, that's something that you have to keep in mind. So with the negative stuff, is whenever you get like, that's how I keep balance with it, because I just remind myself, it's like, that should happen, and it's not happening again. You know, it's like, even if the same kind of situation could occur, it would never be the same thing. So
Yeah.
you have to get. So it's like keeping myself, or anybody that's thinking about, like, keeping themselves from doing that. It's like the only way to do that is to, like, like, okay, you're conscious in the moment always, but you have to take charge of it, take responsibility of it, and that's what we do when we were like, okay, not gonna hold on to this thought, like you're saying.
Yeah,
Let the
that's
thoughts come and go.
we create time because we want to stress and worry about the future, so we create it, and then we want to be depressed because of something, so then we create the time, and then we're just like
Yeah.
not in the moment.
So yeah,
Should have just
think
dealt
if
with
we were never.
what we had coming and just like realized that's like I think Ramdas was saying, he's like everything is perfect because you don't know right and wrong all the time, and everything's perfect and
Yeah.
it came to you and this is your experience now, so like you shouldn't have to judge it so much, you know,
Well,
just
check this
accept
out.
it.
Check this
Accept it.
out.
Yeah.
Well, check this out. Spells. If we never got words and definitions for things, how would we get lost in so much imagination?
Yeah.
If we never knew about most of the stuff that we think we know about, because that's the whole thing, the distraction, is most of the things that like I was saying about identity, most people have never met me, but they assume they know me, by all the things they read or this or that. And or people that I've known in the past, I only knew them in instances, but we really never hung out, but they'll say that they know me, or I would say that I know somebody. But think about it, like how much time, what we calculate somebody lives versus how much, like, an outside individual thinks about them or us. It's not even that much.
We
So
think
so how
there's way more.
so think about, consider that, like, all of these definitions, all the things that we put into the identity, it's just what we do, and it's not even, we don't even spend that much time doing it. So this is how easy how if we really like considered that and relaxed ourselves based on like the worry, for instance, it's like people will worry themselves, talking about identity. They looked up to me or saw this and that, but then they'll worry themselves so much in the moment that they'll make the chance of them meeting me, either they'll give it up or they'll make it weird and turn it into something they may regret, because I respond to things, and sometimes how I respond, and even if I recognize that like maybe this is that, and I may say something thinking I'm joking, they may take it a certain way. It's like, but it's all based on like all of that would be a buildup of how they made me out to be, one way or the other. Like, oh, he's gonna be a dick, or he's a kind guy, but I got just weird tension, so now it's like
Yeah.
But this is
Definitely.
the whole. But that's all, and that was just like about me. But not this whole thing. What I'm talking about is it's just like if we could let go of some of the words, the definitions of things, and just yeah, like you were saying, it's like in the idea of meditation, just being able to exist in life. Like I ride my skateboard, and I don't have to do certain things. So like if somebody's throwing their board, for instance, I don't have to pay attention to that, or I don't have to take in that energy. And that's what I practice on doing a lot of times, tuning people out, because a lot of times people are out there trying to get attention, but it's like, well, you should be focusing on yourself. Give yourself some attention. You don't need the attention from other people. And so that's where, learning how to, like, I have thoughts going on all the time, but those thoughts are not necessarily connected to what's going on in the moment. And sometimes with people and how people may perceive me, like looking at them, because that goes all back to I scan people, my eyes look at an individual, but I don't have a bunch of thoughts about the individual one way or the other. In a lot of cases, it's just checking the environment. And I feel like for me, I've learned how to lighten up, and I'm learning how to lighten up. But when I express myself, it doesn't seem that way to certain people. But
I've got that before. I've got that before, because I will get fired up about stuff at times, and then I'll be like, they'll be like, calm down, calm down. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm just like excited to talk. I'm too fired up.
But remember though, that's them not being able to cope with you, or like with me there. But again, it's going back to what I'm saying, is all the thoughts all the definitions that they created, the persona that they created of you, of me. See, because they expect you to be calm. You're supposed to be calm. You're supposed to be like this, right? So when you're getting all like charged up, they're like, wait, you're acting out of character. The character they created, or the character I created, So just remember, whenever they say that to you, or if you ever hear, there's certain words that will tell you they're talking about their perspective of you. So it's like
it's crazy.
I know that it's like.
I'm sorry. It's crazy, because as you get to know people more, you reveal yourself more. So like. Sometimes they're not used to it, or they don't know it, or they're like, what? It's just like, no.
Most people don't even realize when they're actually saying a lot about themselves, when they're really talking about their perspective. Most people, especially narcissists, they are so lost in like the world is what I tell it is.
Yeah, it's because
they don't realize that they're being weird.
It's partly because if you lie a lot, we were talking about lying earlier. When you lie, you distort your own words, so you can't even trust yourself, so you can't remember where you were. Like, and life is a journey, and if you're just like, you don't have a path, that's the whole narrative structure and a story and being a character and all that thing. That shit those systems get fucked up. Yeah. What was that, Gershon?
Lost at sea.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
my mom was a bit like that. My mom, like, I don't know her whole story because like no one really told me, but like for whatever reason, my mom was like the best when she was the best, and she was the worst at being the worst at times. So she had the highs and
Yeah.
lows, and Lisa had a lot of kids with different men, and it was hard to manage, and not all the men were the greatest men either, you know, or they were at their
Yeah.
moments, and then they had their wild sides, and like so you just learn. I watched my mom like, and then she had 5 kids, and that adds a certain level of pressure and like weight, and then like just watching someone, their story, they don't have control of their life, you know, and they're reactive to everything. Like people, a lot of people are reacting instead of thinking like, you know, they think the world's happening to them, not that they're creating it or manifesting it. They think it's happening to them all the time, you know, and that you
Yeah.
that could be a negative or a positive thing. And my mom just like, she ran the gamut, dude, and I learned a lot from that about like trying to have control, not, you know, like keep it together, stay
No, no, totally.
grounded, you know, stay grounded somehow.
Yep.
So, and my dad,
Yeah,
like
no.
my dad was like he actually like tried to get a, like my mom and him split up, and he tried to take us away from my mom. He kidnapped us twice from my mom. All the way, he drove us all the way to Arizona from Massachusetts one time, and just like
Wow.
took us. Yeah, because my dad, like he had his past, but like he had like a phase in his life where he's like, I just want to take care of my kids and like live basic. We like lived in a motel, and he just did like landscaping to like keep us there, and we just 3 kids, you know, like I was like, and my mom was just running wild. I love her to death, but she was like a mess, you know, like at that time in my life. But I learned so much from her. It's like insane. And she over the years, she like had to deal with like a lot of the stuff that happened, you know, and it's just like she died young, but she helped me out a lot in my life though. And my dad was like, he I had a good example of a father, because he when I saw him, he wasn't doing all the gangbang and stuff, so he was just really trying to be a father, you know. So
Yeah.
that really like that helped me out a lot too, because I had an example of a father, and then my mom like kind of taught me what not to do on a lot of levels, you know. And she had a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
Her humor has helped me out tremendously too, you know.
Yeah.
There's like
Well,
things that
yeah.
you
I mean,
take and you take, you know, from your parents, and those are things that help me out.
well, you find out what works. That's the key, is to find out what works, because we get habits. We get all sorts of habits, but then, you know, as we get older, we find out what works.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
choosing to do better, to have a better life, then you'll find out what works and what doesn't.
I
You
used
know,
to
and the
have a
stuff
lot
that
of
doesn't.
I used to have like a lot of reactive tendencies because of my mother, because grew up in like poverty, but not just poverty, but like there was violence and stuff like that around. Like,
Yeah.
so you just like
Yeah.
become reactive. You're like, oh, you're on guard, you know, like, and you know, if you live in a place that's not really, there's just like violence, then the cops are there, and like cops and your family and emotions and all that, and like the world gets skewed so fast, you know. A lot of us have to deal with that stuff, you know, like no, keeping one life together is so hard, let alone a whole family, you know, like it's hard to manage what you've been given, you know.
Yeah.
Keep practicing it daily,
Yep.
dude.
And that, you know, and that's the whole thing about like being able to pass on like knowledge. It's very important, you know, for those that care about it. Like I care about it, so it's like I want to help people if I can, because like this is what actually I want to do. This is what I like to do. So it's like and it's funny. I don't know if it was at the end of high school or if it was after I got out of school, but there was the question: is like, would you do your job, the job that you're doing? Would you continue to do it if you weren't getting paid to do it? And I'm doing way more than I did when I was getting paid like top dollar.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, it's like, I mean, because I don't see it as a job. I see it as, this is just what life is supposed to be. It's like, you know, if you want, I know that like it's through people that the good things, good or bad things happen. So it's like, well, if you nurture the good stuff, then things can be better. It's like if there's a possibility that even if it's like, yeah, somebody only may skate for a year or whatever, but maybe they have an experience. Like if I help with this or that, they have that experience that they carry on into the next situations in their life, which if they didn't have it, who knows, like you can, whatever, just, it could be a minute, just even like just a thing I said, or just even the inspiration.
Dude,
But, being
you're
able
skating,
to,
like for real, your skating helped me, man, because like skateboarding has literally, I mean, it has for a lot of people, but it literally saved my life. And watching you guys do your thing, nothing but stoked the fire, dude, on the East Coast. I was just like, we went through every Transworld mag, every 4-in-1, like every video. My friend would get them all, and it was like just crazy to see people pushing skateboarding. Like you guys were. Like to me, growing up watching you guys, it was like you were groundbreaking with everything, It's fucking legendary. So basically, long story short, is your skating has influenced me and helped me in life, And I just told you about my life, so and skating pulled me away from all that and like built it up. So I definitely
and that's,
thank you,
Hey, I'm see. The thing is to be able to hear that. It's like that's better than anything, because people like I everything I ever did was a selfish, like, I mean, most, like, and not until I got older did I start thinking about other people as far as when I'm doing, but the skateboarding was for myself, but I'm happy that it helped people, like I feel like it wasn't, it was just, it's something I could do that helped me. So it's like, if, it's like I can pass that on, then shit, that's the blessing,
Yeah.
and usually the blessing happens without somebody it wasn't intentional, but hey, that means that, it's like two good things happen. My life became better and somebody else's life became better. So yeah, that's I love that, and then that's also one of the things I do, like on the ground. Like I've run it, traveling around, I've run into people where it's like, it didn't even have to be said. It's just the way that the whole situation was treated it felt respect. I felt respected, and then I'm just like, well, thank you, but like, but it's definitely like I was inspired, and so it's one of those things, like I was mentioning Slappy, or Mike DiCiplo. They passed down something that, and I feel like, I in turn, if I can do that, then it's just something that it's my right. So and I feel like it's not in using the proper word, but like an obligation. It's just something that I feel like it's necessary.
Yeah, man.
And in doing so, it's fun.
Yeah, I think that's what inspired me, was like I was like, this dude loves the thing that like I found, and look at not just you, but like the dudes ahead of me that were skating. Because I was always watching videos and magazines, because on the East Coast we didn't have a big skateboard scene. I started in New Hampshire, and my friend Dale just got me a extra board, and we just skated a curb, and there was like us, and then like in the town, like skating. There's not that many skaters, and then it would turn into skaters and stuff. But we would just be watching all the magazines and videos and stuff, and just like it was like mind blowing, man. Just your guys' focus and drive and whatever. Like I was saying, you guys were all progressing skating at that time, which is so sick. And that really like I like wanted to learn every trick, man. And I tried to learn as many as I could, dude. I'm still working on the Switch Smith, dude. That's so fucking. I think I've gotten them, but like,
Yeah.
dude, that's a good one.
Well, but that's the thing. Is like, I think about it, it's like different, as many tools as you can have. You'll never not be able to do something. Apply, like everywhere pretty much anywhere I can go, there's somewhere to skate. I could probably do something.
Yeah.
And then it's we haven't have time until we don't. So what I don't know now, I can learn.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and so with skateboarding, there's just a constant adventure because there's so much, like things are ever changing, but and there's so much shit that I've seen that I haven't gotten to skate yet everywhere. So like, I mean, if you're thinking about trying to cover all ground, it's impossible. So like this can go on forever.
Yeah,
and it will until it doesn't.
Yeah, that's the best thing about skating is it's got enough depth to it that you can carry it with you for your whole life. It seems it's sick. There's so many people that care about it too, which is so cool because it is just a piece of wooden wheels, but it's like insane. You there?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was gonna say yeah. You carry it with you your whole life and never run out of things to ideas.
Yeah.
Because you may think, oh shit, I did all these things, but then you watch a video and you'd be like, oh shit, I could probably do that over here. Like there's this thing on the corner that looked just like that. I never even thought about hitting it.
Hey, so you gotta tell you down to do this again? Another one? We'll give it some time and you'll come back on.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I really enjoyed this, man. I don't talk to that many people about all this, like the concepts and of life and philosophies, and like I listen to it a lot, but I talk to some people, but like it was really fun to talk to you about all this, like just to philosophize about life and techniques and ideas and concepts, and it was fun, man. So,
no, I this is what I live for. I love this stuff.
I know we gotta talk.
Like yeah, on a normal basis, you don't get to have these type of conversations.
Yeah, that's partly why I tried to create this space with the podcast, is because like I want to have these conversations too, not just listen to them. Like I like to have them too. So, yeah. So thanks, man, and we'll do this part two for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And And I just want to say, like, it's sick that you're like killing it too at life and still involved in skating, which is like awesome, because I hate when I seen someone who had a spark for something and then it's diminished, It's like cool to see people carry it on and keep it going,
Yeah. No, I'm always like, whenever there's like an idea of like something negative, I always have, not just skateboard. I always have a way to express myself, and that's like, I think that's the key. It's like being able to like be honest with myself first and foremost, and then be able to provide, just do the thing. Because even if I go out and skate, it's like I'm maybe not like I'm not trying to do too much. I'll 50-50 something or just like cruise around. I don't have to do tricks. Like after I get there was points where I was like, oh, I gotta do, but I just started, it's just like I like to ride I like to ride the skateboard. Remember Powell video, Daniel Gesmer? He's like, if you take away all the tricks and everything, you can just glide. And he was just like cruising around a roller rink, like doing like ballet.
It's the best.
Yeah. No, but seriously, sometimes it's like that's like bumming a hill or not even, just cruising down the street. It's like the wind in your face or just the feeling of just movement.
Yeah, totally.
It's like it's pretty cool. And it's even cooler now than it ever was. Like that's the thing about it. It's like people are like, oh, like I see or hear people that are not even in their 30s yet, like complain, like sound like grumpy old men and stuff. But a lot of them are probably drinking, dehydrating themselves, not drinking water, not eating well. So yeah, I think they might actually be aching like that. But like it's like, I don't know, skateboarding is just so, or just self-expression, but you can just, like, I can just get out and do it. Now I can just do it, like, I can get up and do it.
Hell yeah.
Because living where there's smooth floor, it's like, shit, and there's I don't have to worry about sounds and shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, sick. Thank you, Gershon.
And this is the All I Need Skate podcast. If you enjoy the podcast, please let us know by subscribing, liking, and sharing an episode.
Hello, friends. Welcome back to the show. Each and every episode is brought to you by All I Need. We are a growing skateboard company focused on supporting our skate team. Our decks are 7-ply Canadian maple made right here in the USA. If you enjoy this show and would like to help support it, the best way to do that is to skate one of our decks. If you see an All I Need deck at your local skate shop, swoop it up and shred it. If you don't live near a skate shop, don't worry, we have you covered at ALLiNEEDSKATE.com. Something new to the online store is our script pullover hoodie. It comes in 3 colorways. We have black, navy, and maroon, and sizes small through 2XL. And again, check out all our skateboards and apparel at ALLiNEEDSKATE.com. This episode is brought to you by Scooch. Scooch makes the world's most functional Apple and Samsung phone cases. If you're like me and film a lot of skating on your phone, I'd suggest purchasing the Wingman case. It has an epic pop-out kickstand handle that is great for filming skating. Please make sure to use our affiliate link, scoochcase.com/allineed.